Monday, April 3rd of 2016. It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so I guess I really should say it's afternoon, but because this is Sunday, it kind of still feels like the morning, because usually sleep in a little longer, right? Well, I really hope you guys enjoyed that Q&A video I did last night. I just could not sleep. It was one of those restless nights, and I've tried to say, you know what, I need to figure out a way to answer a lot of these questions again. And I said, you know what, I said to myself, you know what, instead of just sitting there typing all the responses out, I know you guys enjoy these Q&A videos, and that's why I decided to do it. The weather out here today is crazy. Officially it's about 50 degrees. But we're having really, really high winds. We've had some gale force gusts, 30, 40 miles per hour. So it makes it feel more like 40, 42 degrees outside. I was actually in the garage a few minutes ago helping Dad drop the gas tank on the 46 Plymouth. He was having some issues with the fuel lines, or at least he thought it was the fuel lines. But after we dropped the tank, we realized the problem was the seals on the around the spigot, and the seals on the bottom, which actually go around the fuel line that goes out towards the engine. Somehow the gas had degraded the rubber and basically had it all disintegrated, and that's where the leak was actually coming from. So he's going to have to order some new gaskets for it. We're going to try to get some better ones. I think the tank and the gaskets he got last time were from eBay, and they obviously were not of very good quality. I mean, the tank's only been up there maybe 3 or 4 months at the most, and it's already disintegrated, and that was quite a chore. We did wind up spilling a lot of gasoline on the ground, but we got a good amount of it in the can, so we can transfer that back in once we put the tank up. Luckily, and I didn't realize this, gasoline dries very quickly. We actually mopped it up as much as we could, but then the rest of it dried within about a minute or two, and of course gasoline is a good cleaner, so about the cleanest I've ever seen our garage floor. One update I wanted to give you guys, this is in reference to Chesapeake Square Mall closing, or going into foreclosure. Nobody really knows exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to read a little article. This is actually from the Suffolk Herald, and this is what they said. Chesapeake Square Mall has fallen into foreclosure and will be sold on April 21st. According to the foreclosure report generated by Virginia Beach law firm Samuel L. White, PC. City manager Jim Baker confirmed the foreclosure and sale, adding that he sees it as an opportunity for a buyer to reinvigorate the mall in Chesapeake's Western Branch community. The mall has been struggling since the closure over the past 2 years of 2 of its anchor stores, including Macy's and Sears. It's not a huge shock. Baker said the mall hasn't been as productive as it could be, and we have been in discussion with the existing ownership group about reinvesting in the mall for several months with little response. The irony is that may be a blessing in disguise, he said. The real fear was that the mall would languish and be allowed to deteriorate without anything being done to it. That's very interesting, that article, for a couple of reasons. One is, even though the mall is kind of falling into disrepair right now, actually if you look up towards the skylights, a lot of the skylights are leaking. There's a lot of water damage on the ceiling, especially around the seals near where the skylights are. So the mall is actually already falling into disrepair. You can tell that the current management company just doesn't really care about it anymore. They probably just don't, to be honest, they probably don't have the money to do anything about it. And number two, the edges of the mall, where the former anchor stores were. On the one end there was Sears, and the other end there was the Dillard's, which was torn down, and now outside is the new Cinemark movie theater. Around the edges, that's where all the stores are gone. There's maybe a few in between. There's an FYE and a vape shop near where the old Dillard's used to be, and that's it. And then down by Sears, there's a Christian bookstore and a Payless shoe store, and that's it for the ends. But as you go towards the middle of the mall, near the food court, a lot of these stores are still there. We have a Victoria's Secret in there. We still have Spencer's Gifts, a Hallmark. But the problem that I'm seeing is there are also a lot of these mom and pop stores. And when you start seeing a lot of mom and pop stores coming in the malls, that's never a good sign. That's kind of like it's a death warrant, if you will. Now, the food court, on the other hand, does very well. There is not one vacant area in the food court. We have a Nori Japan, the China Gourmet, there's a Chick-fil-A, there's a new pizza place that took over where Saburo's went out. There's a gourmet burger, like a diner in there. There's a Hunan Chinese place. There's actually a regular China Gourmet and then another one that serves mainly Hunan food. And there's also a smoothie bar in there. So the food court is actually doing very well. What's going to happen with Chesapeake Square Mall? Like they've said in this article, I really don't know. It could go either way at this point. Usually, when a mall goes into foreclosure, that's the end for it. Generally, because malls have been on the decline, there has not been a mall, this is a fact, there has not been a mall built, a new mall built in the continental United States since 2002. And malls are just totally in decline. They're just out of style. They're not bringing in the dollars that they used to. There is a few thoughts on what to do about this. Now, there's a very, very good chance that when this goes up for auction, there are not going to be any buyers. If that is the case, the city is talking about actually purchasing the mall and the land. If the city gets their way, if the city owns that mall's done for. I already know from a good friend of mine who is on the board for our city, the city of Chesapeake, that has said if the city gets it, they are going to tear down the mall and they're going to put a town center there. That is what the cities wanted to do here for a long time. I am not totally against that plan. My mother absolutely hates it because, for good reason actually, when around here it gets hot. In Southern Virginia during the summer it can be 90 degrees most of the time with 80 to 90% humidity. And the bad thing about the town center is you have to access everything from the outside. And it gets to the point where you just don't want to go there because you don't want to be walking outside. That's the nice thing about a mall, especially here in the South, is you can be inside getting to all the stores and not get yourself hot. But the other edge of the sword of that is people just are not going to malls as much anymore. They're going to these town centers. They're going to strip malls. It's really funny when you think about it. It's actually doing a whole 360. Back in the 40s, 50s, and early 60s, strip malls were all the rage. And of course, you know, actual Main Street USAs where you still had mom and pop shops. And then as the 60s came, you started seeing a lot of malls, 60s, 70s, and 80s, and then even into the early 90s, maybe early to mid-90s, were the generation of the malls. You started with little mini malls, and then by the 70s and 80s, you had these gigantic behemoth malls. One I can remember near where we used to live was Danbury Fair Mall. I mean, that mall's insane. The Macy's alone has 3 floors. But as the late 90s came, malls started to go into decline. And it wasn't for the financial crisis. It's just because the new generation, the millennials, are not only shopping more online, but when they do go out, they go to places like Best Buy, Office Max, Target. All of these stores that are generally not attached to a mall. Now, Target is attached to the mall in our case, but that can be very rare. My take on this whole thing is, like I said, I would not mind seeing the town center. If they do decide to put a town center there, I will frequent it. From what I understand, if the city purchases and they go with the town center, JCPenney, Target, and Burlington are going to stay there. It's kind of like what they did with Coliseum Mall. They're just going to tear the mall down around those stores and then build basically new buildings around the old anchor stores. That could be really cool, but at this point, everything is still up in the air. We just have no idea. After April 21st, we'll know if somebody actually purchased it. And I'm trying to see, I think, I don't have it in front, but I believe they valued the mall around like $140 million. I could be wrong on that. Don't take that as fact, but I believe I did see that figure somewhere. Like I said, it's just really sad. I've seen our area of Chesapeake decline immensely over the years, and you guys that live near me know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything is pushing more towards the Suffolk Harborview area, and it's really up in the air what's going to happen. So as I always say, it is what it is. Progress is going to happen in one form or another. And if the mall closes, you know what? I'm not really going to shed a tear because I know there will be something else good coming in the near future. Well, I got to do some work. I'm actually working on a computer right now for a client. She needs a computer badly, and building one for her I had out of some spare parts. So I need to finish working on that today. Planning on doing the review of the MREs either tomorrow or Tuesday. Just depending on how things go. Today we're going to be going out to lunch, so I guarantee I won't be hungry enough to do it for dinner time. I did do some more research on those MREs, and I found out that they are from right around 2008. So I'm fairly confident they're still going to be good to eat. The friend that I got them from still eats them sometimes for dinner, and he says they taste just fine. Well, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and end the vlog here for today because I really don't have too much else to discuss. We may be doing a pit fire tonight, depending on if it rains or not. They're saying they're giving about a 20-30% chance of showers late, and of course the wind is still kicking up. But weather permitting, we're going to go ahead and do another pit fire tonight, and that should be fun. I'll probably get some video of that. We bought some marshmallows when we went to shopping last night. I'm gonna have to pull out some of the. We are so proper here. We never actually use. A lot of people just take sticks. They'll trim the bark off and maybe season them, and then that's what they'll put their marshmallows on and roast them on the fire. We don't do that. What we do in this house is we actually use metal shish kebab skewers. It just makes it easier, and I always think that just using sticks is kind of unsanitary. Now, if I was out in the wilderness, built a campfire, and I want to roast some marshmallows, heck yeah, I would take a stick and clean it and then just use that. But being as we're at home, you know what? It's just easier to use the shish kebab skewers, and not like we use them for their intended purpose anymore anyway. Well, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave some comments down below if you live in my area and know anything more about Chesapeake Square Mall and what might be happening. This is the latest information I could find about it, and this is from 3 days ago. This is from March 31st, so we'll just see what happens. Please remember to like and subscribe, and as always, have a blessed day, everybody.